As far as atheists, I would say Kelley recently has helped convert me over to being an atheist. I don't think the concept of God really has any relevance or cogent meaning that we can really define to do it. But yeah, definitely an atheist.
Okay. Is it a possibility at all in either of your guys' mindsets that there may be a God, or is it 100% absolutely not?
I have no idea. I'm agnostic on the existence of God.
Yeah, same here.
I don't believe in one.
Okay, here.
Yeah, agnostic atheist. Now, if you were to mention specific gods, yeah, I can pretty much throw any god I've ever heard of before out for a very good reason. But when it comes down to a general concept of a classical god, yeah, okay, maybe, probably not, but maybe.
Yeah, no, definitely a specific Most High, a specific creator or creators, depending on the pantheon or whichever religion.
Do you believe in any gods?
Yes, I do. I actually keep Torah. I follow the Most High, Yud He Vav He. Some people say Yahweh, Yahweh, Yehovah, Yahuwah. I follow that God from the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation. I believe He is the only Most High. I believe He is the fundamental foundation upon which we exist. And I believe all the other ones are counterfeits and tools of the enemy. Of course, would be the devil, Lucifer, Satan, working to keep people from having a relationship with the Most High, including evolution and atheism.
So you think that evolution is a work of the devil?
A faith. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think it's one. Oh, I'm sorry. Go for it. My apologies.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. One thing I am curious about, you had mentioned a creator and creation. I was a little curious about that as well, because for me, I start getting uncomfortable when people say creation, because creation implies, of course, a creator, and I'm not convinced of a creator or creation. Now, obviously, we're here, but I was just curious about that particular kind of delve in there. What makes you believe? Is it strictly the Bible, or do you have something beyond the Bible and its claims that cause you to believe it?
So, absolutely. There's a number of different answers that I would love to give you, starting with, first and foremost, obviously the Bible, having that as evidence, one of the oldest texts that we have on this planet, right up there with the
the Vedas are older, and that's a different religion. Why would that validate Hinduism?
Yep.
Well, I don't know if you heard me say it, but that was actually, like I said, it's one of the oldest texts, right up there with the Vedas.
I know, but hear me out, because earlier you said all the other gods were false. But if the book of those gods are older than your book, wouldn't that make your God false to them?
Or at least increase the credibility of theirs more.
No, not.
I mean, if we're just if we're just using age as credibility for a book.
Yeah, I'm not taking the stance, nor did I make the claim that age was credibility for a book.
Okay.
As the ultimate truth. I'm simply pointing out the fact that if we go back and we look at some of the oldest texts, there is at least something that should be taken into account, as far as the fact that we do have something that wasn't created, let's say, less than 100 or a little over 100 years ago, like the Book of Mormon or the Jehovah's Witness variation on the New World Translation in Charles Taze, or going to marry Eddie Baker and Christian Scientists. I'm not a Christian, by the way, either. I'm just going to throw that out there so we can get that on the table. But the reason I brought up the fact, you asked me what were my reasons for believing in the proof and existence of a creator. And I was just simply sharing that the first thing is that we do have this Bible written down. I'm sure we would go back and forth and we'd have to just leave it on the side that I believe that it was inspired by the Most High through men, writing it down, infallible, inerrant.
I think I look at the Bible as the claim and not the proof. Yep. So the Bible means not, it absolutely means nothing to me as any kind of proof of a God. It's the writing that's telling us that there's a God there, but it's not proving it.
Yeah, you can't use the Bible to prove the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Sorry,
and I figured that's where you were going to go, which is why I was going to leave that one on the side.
Okay.
So what you got?
Well, what's your best? What's your best besides the Bible then?
Well, I would first ask you, which is where I was hoping we were going to go. Looking first and foremost, I would say that it's based on faith. Both of our stances are based on faith. If you believe in evolution, you being an agnostic, specifically the gentleman,
I accept evolution.
I disagree with faith.
I accept evolution. I have looked at the evidence for it. I am a scientist. I have looked at the scientific evidence, and I accept it as being valid. I don't believe in it. I accept it as being valid.
And I can assure you that I don't have an altar to Charles Darwin in my house that I pray to. I accept the scientific facts as they come out, or the evidence, I should say. And of course, the great thing about it is if more evidence comes to show something is right or wrong, that's fine. But the truth is the reason that I'm not a Christian, I was raised a Christian. I was a believer for right at 30 years. And the reason that I'm not a Christian has absolutely nothing with evolution. I believed in evolution when I was a believer. So evolution didn't go either way. That doesn't shake my faith. And so if we took evolution and threw it away completely, that still wouldn't get me to a God. That would just get me to say, okay, well, I don't have any clue to how humanity got here, or the other speciation got here. It would tell me absolutely nothing about if there's a God and what I should do about that God, or what is important to that God for me not to. You mentioned the devil, so I'm presuming you believe in some type of hell. And so being able to avoid a punishment being very important, we can throw evolution out the window and say, okay, for the sake of discussion, it doesn't exist. So where's God? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So religion. Oh no, absolutely, without a doubt, I'm with you. And I would ask you this, right? You said you can't use the Bible to prove the Bible. So in the same essence, if you have evolution and you have a theory of evolution and you have the tenets of it, you're going to look at the specifics within the scientific field of evolution that you believe in, that you believe are true, that you believe.
We're going to look at DNA evidence. We're going to look at evidence of evolving species that are now evolving within our own time. Yeah, we're going to look at actual physical evidence that we can see. And we can't do that with the Bible. We can only read about something that happened supposedly thousands and thousands of years ago. So we can't see or test any of it. But we can do that with evolution.
And in fact, not only we have had predictions that certain things were going to happen, or there was things were going to be found, and ultimately, guess what? Those are found. Time and again, we find situations where we don't know the answer, and when there's conjecture, because there are a lot of things that we do not know. And that is one fundamental difference between me and my acceptance of evolution and the average faith of an average theist, because I'm willing to be wrong. If the evidence comes up, toss the bad evidence out.
Absolutely. So with that being said, if I could just finish one thought,
sure, go ahead.
Share an idea here to get it into the ring with you guys. And I know the Bible doesn't count to establish itself, but I almost think you would agree that if a piece of something in the Bible was provable, verifiable, testable, observational, that we would have to give some credence to that thing that's being defined and spoken of. Would you agree with that?
Well, I would say that the Bible does have truth in it. There are things in the Bible that, without a doubt, are true. I mean, there are certain things that I would not even try to deny. Some of them a lot more dubious, but it would have to be something pretty damn special for me to go, oh, that's true in the Bible, therefore God. That's that disconnect. I can believe certain prophecies came true, whether they're written before or after the fact. I can give you the fact that maybe they were written before, because people do say, hey, this is what's going to happen, and they do happen. It's kind of like you don't count the losses, but that's reality. I can accept that, but it's that leap going from there to where's God? It's almost like where's Waldo hiding in the background? How do we find God? Because I would think that it would be a little easier to find, because believe me, The Bible says, seek and ye shall find. I looked diligently. I spent years of my life reading that Bible cover to cover every year, at least once a year after I was 13. But the bottom line is there was no God there.
Were you obedient to the Torah?
Well, I was raised in a very conservative Christian sect.
Okay, so
I didn't adhere.
Okay, so you didn't adhere. So we're specifically warned about that exact mindset in the Bible. So it's almost no wonder that you didn't find upon you seeking. When you
have you ever heard of the no true Scotsman fallacy?
Yep.
Do you know what that is?
No true Scotsman.
The no true Scotsman fallacy.
I don't know. I don't know the name, but I might know the details, and I'll tell you if I do or don't after.
You've just committed it. What you basically just told Infidel is that he wasn't a true believer.
Absolutely.
And to him, he was a true believer. So what you're doing is you're saying that of all the believers, only certain people, the ones that are just like me, are really the only true believers.
No, I'm not saying the ones that are just like me. What I'm saying is based on the tenets of the Bible and the actual.
And they're based on the way you're interpreting those tenets. So it's other people who are just like you interpreting them the same way. You're the only true believers, and all the other believers aren't believers.
And let me just say,
they're missing pieces. For instance, let me ask you.
Yes, exactly. You're saying they're not right. Exactly. You're saying they're not true believers, and that you're absolutely committing what's called the no true Scotsman.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I'm saying that the vast majority do not have it right. Absolutely. But in the same sense, you're also taking.
Do you know what a fallacy is?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Kevin, let me say one thing.
It just surprised me that you were admitting to committing a fallacy and thinking it was all right.
I'm not committing a fallacy. I don't have.
Yes, you're committing a no true Scotsman fallacy. You've done it like several times, 3 or 4 times now.
Why is your God making this so difficult?
Over and over.
But you're defining that and my reasoning towards it, but you're not giving me a chance to actually explain the reasoning.
Oh, you've said why? Because everybody else isn't interpreting it the right way. You've already told us why.
Well, I don't know about Well, I didn't say everybody else. I said the vast majority. See, and I would think you guys would agree. Words are very specific, very detailed, very important. I didn't say everybody. I said the vast majority. So that's not a.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many people are involved in your side and your group, and it doesn't matter how many people are true believers.
Well, let's take me. You just said I wasn't. I wasn't a true believer. So if we're going to go with I wasn't a true believer, let's take that. Let's use me as an example. We only need one. So let's go with that.
Perfect.
So if I wasn't a true believer, if I dedicated my life, if I read the Bible once or twice a year, every year from 13 to 30, and I dedicated time and effort, door knocked, spent all this time praying and desperately seeking for God, and he didn't show up because I ate bacon on a sandwich, that's kind of shitty already. But okay, so how do we reach people who, from your perspective, how do people be reached if you have to fit a certain mold before God will show himself to you? I mean, I was looking, but he sure was hiding.
Really simply, some people, he calls them in a multitude of ways. And I can't speak. I wouldn't even begin to be so presumptuous to speak on somebody's entire walk and what they did when people were watching and what they did when people weren't watching. I don't know. I don't have that ability to supernaturally read hearts and minds and to know the actions of each and every single person. But if you weren't obedient and you followed a doctrine that did not adhere to the obedience, which is spoken about over and over plainly from the very beginning to the very end. And I don't know the ins and outs and the details of your particular life, man. I have no idea how you conducted yourself, the things you were into, the things you did, the things that you did that you loved to do that went against his ways. I don't know any of those things. But if you sought him and you did not find him. Well, it's really, and I was trying to go a different direction, but ultimately, your exact walk and mindset is spoken about clearly and blatantly from beginning to end. Those who don't follow the Torah, their prayers are an abomination. If you seek him and you're not following his righteous ways, and you're doing what you want to do, and you justify your actions, and you're good in your own eyes.
So he wasn't a true believer.
Yeah. So God's an asshole because, when my children do wrong, it's my responsibility to say, hey, this is not the way you should be doing things. So if I was going out there in earnest, whether I was doing the complete wrong things, if I was going out there and earnestly seeking God, why wouldn't he meet me halfway? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you were in need, I don't even know you, but if you were in dire need and I was able to help you and reach out and assist you, I would do it. So, but God doesn't, and I don't even know you. But with my own children, that's a total different story. So it just seems kind of strange that God's playing hide and seek.
Well, he tells us many times that he's withdrawn himself from us because of our sinful ways.
When did he tell us that?
Mediator.
I missed the email.
I'm going to pull up the verses. Give me half a second.
No, I can pull up. I don't need you to read a verse. I know what you're talking about God getting pissy.
I'm still wondering when God talked to us. You're saying that he told us, but I don't hear him. I've never heard him talk, so he's never told me. And if you're going to quote the Bible again, that is just a claim. All I know is that was written down by men sometime in the past. I don't really know if it's the word of God or not. There's no way for me to know.
So do you believe that there's ultimately one truth regarding our existence?
No.
So how does that work? We just live in a land of make-believe?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I have no idea about the ultimate truth. As far as I know, there isn't one, because you'd think after 100,000 years of searching for it, we would have found it by now, but nobody's been able to find it. So I don't think it exists.
I didn't get an instruction manual tied to my toe when I was born. So I'm just left muddling through it like everybody else. And I can't pretend to know all the answers. I just have to go with the best I got.
Well, I mean, we're told that since the creation of the world, his invisible qualities have been clearly seen. But
no, we aren't told that. You are told that. You're
telling us that,
but we aren't told that. That's what I'm trying to get through to you. You're acting like somebody came and like God came and told that to us, but no, he never did. He never did.
Well, he did. He had it written down in the book. Whether or not you read the book is a whole nother conversation.
The book. I have read the Bible. I have totally read it through.
Okay.
Me too.
But again, the Bible does not prove that it is the word of God. It's just a book that was written down 2,000 years ago. I have no idea who wrote it. I don't know what kind of mindset they were in when they wrote it. It's the claim. It's the claim. It isn't the proof.
It was, some of it was more than 2,000 years ago, but either way, 2,000, 5,000, whatever, 3,000, whatever word we want to put there, the bottom line is it doesn't answer us.
The book of Job is what, 2,700 years old, I think, the oldest book.
Yeah, it's less than 3,000.
It goes, yeah, everything pre-Diluvian, the Great Diluvian. But my question to you, back to the other one before, if you're okay with this, if we could go back, I asked you, is there one truth regarding all of our existences? One truth. If it's true for you, it's true for me. However we got here, whether we spontaneously came about without intelligent design or we were intelligently designed, do you agree? And I'm going to ask the other gentleman because you already gave your answer. But do you agree that there is only one truth regarding our existence?
Well, I think that the truth regarding my existence, my parents are dead. So what position or how long it took them to achieve it, I really don't know. And frankly, I don't want to. But I'm sure that there might have been some, gods in there somewhere. But beyond that, I don't know. I mean, I think that between each and every one of us, the truth and reality of our existence is going to vary because we have different experiences. We live different lives. We're different people. Sure, we can share a common reality, but our experiences of that common reality are not the same. I experience something that you don't. Yeah, obviously, you do as well.
Not trying to be a jerk. I don't think either A, you're understanding, or B, you listened, or you're understanding or listening to the specific question that I'm asking. I'm not talking about your personal subjective experiences on this planet. I'm asking you very specifically, in terms of our ontology, the nature of existence, how we got here, the age-old question: how are we here? Why are we here? What are we doing? How did it come about? I'm asking if there's one truth, and I'll if you don't mind, I'd love to break down and ask you it a different way on a more tangible level. If I asked you, do you exist without the ground, any ground, period, as a fundamental foundation? You would say no, right? Is that a safe assumption? Can we find common ground there? No pun intended.
If you mean literally, do I believe that I'm standing on planet Earth and my feet touch the ground? Yeah, I would say that that's a reality. And for most people who don't die in infancy, that would be true for them as well.
Absolutely. And we could even say that the ones who died in infancy were attached by the umbilical cord to their mother, dependent on their mother's life, and the mother was attached to ground.
I don't see where this is going.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm willing to stipulate this if you can get to where you're going.
Yeah, let's skip all of this and get to your point, because I have other callers that we need to get to too. So I'm going to give. So let's try to get to the point right away.
Absolutely. Yeah, no problem. I'll wrap it up like this. It's really simple. You don't exist without the ground, neither do I. It's something we share. It's a common fundamental foundation. It's a thread that weaves us both together. It's true for you. It's true for me. We would call that an ultimate truth. Therefore, that is a truth of our existence, and it's true for one. It is true for all here. So when we take that out, we magnify it out in the levels of magnification to the ontology, to the nature of how we got here. My premise and my stance is, however we got here, whether we were created by the God of the Bible, the God of the Quran, Allah, whether it was by Brahma from Hinduism, you pick your flavor, it doesn't matter, whether it was evolution and there was no intelligent design. However it happened, it's true for one, it is true for all. There is one ultimate truth regarding our existence. And if that's the case, and I don't know if you agree with that, but that brings us to only really a handful or two of plausible ideas. And there's really only two it breaks down to, of course, and I think you guys would agree with that at the fork in the road. You have evolution and you have creation. And
evolution has nothing to do with the origin of life. If you think it does, you need to go study evolution. It has nothing to do with the origin of life.
Well, it depends on what type of evolution you're talking about. Are you talking
no evolution has anything to do with the evolution or with the beginning of life. Evolution can only happen after life has started.
It's speciation.
That's not what they teach in the textbook.
Evolution is about the beginning of life. You need to go back and study and find out what evolution is.
Well, you're talking about abiogenesis.
I think you need to go back. You need to go back to the drawing
board. You are talking about abiogenesis. You're talking about abiogenesis, not evolution.
But the bottom line is that the truth is that I don't know how life originated.
No.
The difference is that I feel that I'm honest enough to say that I don't know. I think that the problem is that the theistic standpoint is that I know by faith. And if you go by I know by faith, then I could know by anything. I could know by the invisible pink unicorn or your God or the fact that we just got spit out of the nose of the giant arquebus in Hitchhiker's Guide. But the truth is we don't know. And I'm not trying to tell you I do. And that's the fundamental difference, once again, between my accepting of evolution and you having faith and believing that you know the answers to these questions. And I can just say, I don't know. I just don't know.
Kevin, I'm going to give you the last word, but I'm going to give you the last word, but we're going to have to move on. So wrap it up for us.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I absolutely agree that I take it on faith. I believe that without a shadow of a doubt, you guys have faith in the evolutionary process. We've never seen anything change on this planet from one species to another. We've only ever seen what the
Yes,
Bible
we
says
have.
happens.
Yes, we have.
We
Yes,
have.
we have. Yes, we have. Yes, we
No,
have.
we have not.
Yes, we have.
No,
We
we
have
have
seen
not.
the
We've only-
evolution of new
Yes, we
species.
have.
Go look up
Name
Big
one.
Bird on Galapagos
one.
Island.
Name one.
That just became a new species within the last decade. Within the last
Name
decade.
one.
I just did.
Name
The
one.
Big Bird species on the Galapagos
I didn't hear you.
Islands. I just did. Go look.
So
You're
what
talking
species?
about
So
stuff
what
that you
species?
don't have any clue about. I'm sorry, Gavin, but we've got
I
to
do
move
have a-
on. And obviously, you're not very caught up with what with the science of evolution. I would encourage you to actually go and study it. Don't study what other people say about it that don't believe it's real, but actually go study evolution itself from a scientific point of view. And I think maybe if you have a better understanding, we can have a better conversation about this. Okay, and